I've been on about 6 game shows now, but the first one was the one that really changed my life, and not in the way that you're probably thinking. If you were with me back in 2006, I was living in London in a share house with about 10 other Australians. I was feeling pretty down. I hadn't worked for a few months, and it was the start of the new year. I hadn't actually got dressed for about 5 days. I was, yeah, almost depressed, I guess. I didn't really know what to do with my life. I was a teacher, but I couldn't find work, and I really needed money, essentially. And so, for some reason, I decided to start writing what I would do if I had $1 million. Um, well, rather, it would have been pounds in those days because I was living in London. I had a diary given to me by my mum for Christmas, and I just started writing page after page after page what I would do, including like going to Italy and doing an art course, riding a moped, getting a boob job, getting a new laptop, uh, everything and anything I could think of, getting my eyes lasered, taking dance classes. These are the things that if I had free time and money wasn't an object, they were the things I wanted to do. And a lot of that, including learning new things and travel. And as I wrote, I really started to feel better. I'd been literally sitting on the couch eating a plate of sausages, just feeling sorry for myself. And just the feeling of imagining these things happening was enough to finally get me to get up, get dressed, go in the shower, and start my day. I came down from the shower feeling a little bit more myself, and I turned on the television. And the first thing I saw was a audition for a new game show called Deal or No Deal. Now, this was in England, and I'd already seen Deal or No Deal in Australia. And so I knew the show, I knew you could win money, and I saw the number and I thought, why not? Let's take it a chance. Let's see what happens. So I called the number or emailed in, whatever it was in those days. I can't remember now. It was 20 years ago, almost 20 years ago to the day, actually. Um, yeah, but within a few weeks, I got an audition, went to the audition, and a couple of weeks later, I was on Deal or No Deal. Now, if you don't know, the UK version is completely different to the American and Australian version of Deal or No Deal. We were very lucky. We got to stay in a hotel until it was your go. So basically, you audition, and that means you are definitely going for the money. In Australia, I think you can audition, but you still don't know if it's going to be you picked out of the audience. Every day we filmed 3 shows. So at the end of the day, which went from about 10 in the morning till 8 at night, I think. We got back to the hotel, and if somebody won £1,000 or more, they would put £100 behind the bar. And if they won less than £1,000, we all put £10 behind the bar. So basically, every day we were celebrating or commiserating somebody's win or losses. I think I did about 22 shows. Yeah, it was my 22nd show that became my chance to go for the money. And I had 22 in my head as a special number. So I was married on the 22nd of December as well. So I think 22 was always in my mind. And I might have mentioned that, which I think was my downfall, which I'll talk about more in a little bit. Um, yeah, so the English show is very different to the American one. Like I said, everybody is going to go for the money. So you get to know everybody in the hotel. You all you're talking about is winning the money and what you're going to do with it. So it really brings us all together as a really great group. And I've still got some messages from everybody when I left. We had like a little kind of like a little yearbook you get when you're in school, just wishing each other well, which was really sweet. So, long story short, I managed to beat the banker and sold my box, which had £1,000 in, for £22,000, which was, yeah, amazing. I think uh, yeah, I could have got more, but I'd been on the show for, so long that I'd seen people who just gone that one more and then ended up with nothing. So I didn't want to be too greedy. I had a mind set of 10 grand was the minimum that I wanted. I wanted 10 grand at least. And so doubling that was amazing. But here's the part that actually changed my life. It was amazing to win the money. I went straight to Vegas with my friends a couple of weeks later, went to Austria and also put a deposit on a block of land in Australia. So I used the money well, but it wasn't the money that really changed my life. It was realizing that I had manifested this whole experience. And I didn't even know what manifesting was. This was back in 2006. The film The Secret hadn't come out yet. So, what had I done? How had I manifested this without even knowing? Well, remember, I was feeling really low. I was down. I hadn't got dressed. I hadn't had a shower for a few days. It was pretty disgusting. And was just feeling like life was going nowhere. I didn't know what to do. And by writing down what I would do with $1 million, I raised my vibration. I started to feel good. It wasn't a woo woo thing. It was just literally pretending and imagining that I was in Italy, that I, could see perfectly, that I was dancing. I just felt good. Our brains are so powerful, and your brain doesn't really know the difference between what's reality and what's imagined. So just putting myself in that situation for quite a while, I was writing down like 3 or 4 pages of what I wanted in my life. That raised my vibration, that raised my energy so much that I got up and finally got dressed. And I came downstairs and saw an opportunity on the television, the opportunity to go on a TV show. If I'd been sat down feeling miserable and I'd seen that advert for a game show, I probably wouldn't have called up. I would have thought, oh, well, I won't win that. But because I was feeling good, I was like, yeah, I want $1 million. That's how I get $1 million. Obviously, didn't get a million, but you get the idea. So I'd raised my vibration. I saw an opportunity. And importantly, I took action. You can't just make it happen in your imagination. You have to take action on the things. So that was the first thing I'd got myself into a better emotional state. I saw an opportunity and I took action. And then what did I do? I let it go. I didn't think too much about it. I went to the audition, thought I've done my best, but I didn't really hold on to the feeling of getting onto that show tightly, that I was like, oh my God, I've got to get on this, got to get this. I was just like, oh, let's see what happens. Interestingly, the presenter of the show, Noel Edmonds, had been in the newspaper about this thing called cosmic ordering. He'd started writing these little symbols on his hands to remind him of things that he wanted in his life. And so, yeah, again, before The Secret, before I knew about manifesting, he was doing this.
You are allowed, whatever your faith, you are allowed to say to the cosmos, the bigger being, whatever it is, you're allowed to say, this is what I'd like. And you place an order.
It was about 7 years later that I actually became a manifestation coach as one of my random jobs, which I'll share about in maybe another video. If you'd like to hear more about that, let me know. I find it a nice sort of coincidence as well that he was doing this cosmic ordering and I'd got there and believed that I manifested it somehow without even knowing the word manifesting. Deal or No Deal was the very first game show that I went on. I have been on quite a few more. If you'd like to hear more about that as well, do let me know and I might make a guide or something to help you get on a game show. If you would find that interesting, let me know in the comments below. Also, love it if you would like and subscribe this video. It really does help me feel motivated to share more about my random jobs, and I hope you've enjoyed this video. So in the next video, I'm going to watch Deal or No Deal and tell you all the things that are going on in the background and share a bit more about the audition process and what happened after the show. So if you want to stick around for that one, watch it next.